Right here in Davos. Thanks very much for speaking to us, ma'am, on ET. Now, I will first begin talk to you about India. The markets are seeing an unprecedented rally of sorts. There's plenty of euphoria, plenty of hope around that. You have always spoken realistic. You've always spoken pragmatically. Do you believe the economic fundamentals and do you believe the economic reality is backing all of this euphoria, really?
I think the efforts and the direction is clearly backing this, and I would think the markets are therefore pricing in what they are expecting as results out of the current action and direction.
Do you believe the biggest challenge of the government right now is to temper some of these expectations? Because everybody seems in the market to believe that the next 90 days is where we will see big reforms. It's all going to be packed with big action. Do you believe the expectation needs to be lowered a little?
Well, I think what we all need to focus on currently is to actually get results out of the action. I would say that, and I think then the expectations would kind of move accordingly. It's always impossible to expect things in 90 days, and you're right in that sense. But at the same time, we must recognize that some of the steps have already been taken. I mean, a lot of those FDI, allowances that have been made, the smaller approvals have started to come. I think a lot of clarity around at least the coal ordinance and so on and so forth. So I'm hopeful that all these actions will translate into results. But yes, nothing happens in 90 days and we should not expect magic.
It's not a sprint, it is a marathon, like many people say. I will fail in my duty if I don't talk about banking with you first, which I will. And then, of course, I'm going to talk the larger picture. The RBI has started to cut rates, 25 basis points. The day the rate cut happened, you were luckily at North Block and we all caught you there. You said this is the beginning of a lower rate cut cycle. How much do you expect rates to go down in this calendar year? And do you believe this is going to spur investment and also boost demand?
I clearly believe this is just the beginning and the signal. So now how much they would go down more in this fiscal year, I would think probably close to 75 basis points or so. But, a lot depends on how inflation moves.
Will you wait for another rate cut before you take a call on banks passing on this benefit to consumers? So, lower lending rates, lower deposit rates. When do we see banks like yourselves take a call on this? And by how much maybe?
Yeah, I think I've always said that the banks' lending rates don't only depend on rate cuts. I think rate cut is just one signal. Their lending rates depend on their cost of funds. And we must remember that the cost of deposits are also somewhere or the other linked to inflation because customers look for real interest rates. But I think in the last few months, you've seen some reduction in the rate of deposits as well. So I would think a cut in the lending rates would also happen soon.
And by what quantum would you be willing to share with us?
No, the quantum, the timing, I think it cannot be shared till every board takes their own decisions. Yeah.
Fair point indeed, ma'am. You did say that this is going to see the beginning of investments kick off, loan credit take off in the industries at 10% levels. Which are the sectors that you're going to be banking on as far as boost to credit offtake is concerned? I know you've had multiple meetings with the government. You were in dialogue with the finance minister yesterday. I'm just trying to get a sense of which are the sectors that banks will be looking as far as the credit offtake is concerned.
See, credit offtake is also going to move in three phases. The first is the retail consumer confidence coming back and they starting to buy vehicles and cars and homes and so on. We are already seeing that. The second phase would be increase in working capital. In a way, we are seeing a little bit of beginning of that because as demand increases, people will get more confidence to produce more. But the third and the big kicker will come only when investments come back. I think those are a few quarters away because it's not just about announcing policy reforms. It's also about, the existing stalled projects getting solved. And I think a big relief on that would come when the coal issue gets resolved by end of March and so on. So I think we have to give it a couple of more quarters before people actually start feeling that they can deleverage and start putting in money in new projects.
While the street like to punish banks as far as asset quality concerns are concerned, the fact is that anything that's bad in the economy first reflects on the bank's balance sheets. Asset quality has been a concern for public sector banks and also for private sector banks. Going forward, how are you assessing this situation? When do you see this get under control? We know a stressed economy means a stressed balance sheet for banks.
So as you've yourself said, I think, how the asset quality will move or improve really depends on the economic uptick. So a lot of the companies and projects have been restructured in the last couple of years with the hope and the assumption that economy would start ticking back again. And the pace at which, and I'm saying we are already seeing signs of improvement, but the pace at which the improvement takes place will positively impact the asset quality. And if the improvement gets prolonged a little bit, you'll see that these cases will remain under stress till then.
Fair point. You mentioned that one of the kickers for credit offtake will be when real investment flows in, when infrastructure projects are taking off that are stalled for now. The RBI has introduced that 5 to 25 scheme to refinance infrastructure loans. Have you identified loans that you would want to restructure at this stage, and how are you really assessing this whole scheme?
First of all, I think the scheme is a very good scheme. I think it makes a lot of eminent sense when it comes to funding long-term infrastructure projects. And this scheme is really good for those projects that are already completed, but in the past have been financed by banks by 8 to 10 year funding, whereas the projects have life of 25 and 30 years. So I think those projects which have started production but would have otherwise faced a very tight cash flow, I think the schemes make a lot of sense. And yes, we have identified projects, and this is going to be very useful for those projects.
Would you be willing to share the details of what you identified in this thing?
No, I think it's really, a lot of the projects are actually eligible for this, and I think it will make sense for a lot of them. But the other issue still remains, that is those projects which are not yet complete and where some of the loose ends have to be tied up. I think that is first very important before you even think of any elongation of the financial structure.
My last question to you on banking before I move to the big picture. The Modi government through the Jan Dhan Yojana, and I'm being a contrarian here, everybody's lauded it, is planning to transfer 51,000 crore worth of subsidy to 15 crore of bank accounts. Is the banking sector prepared for something like this? And I'm asking you to wear the cap of the biggest lender in India in the private sector space.
No, clearly banking, in fact, I think transferring subsidies through those accounts is really the logical way of making this whole scheme very much more meaningful. So, the banks have actually gone ahead and opened the accounts. And I would say that this step of transferring the subsidy only just makes the accounts more meaningful. So, yes, the banks are ready to actually make it happen.
A lot of times that we've been speaking to global CEOs here, and we thought it will be the only Indian CEOs who will be obsessed with the Indian budget, but the global CEOs are turning around and saying that we are waiting for what Mr. Jaitley does. So there is a lot of expectations around that budget, right, which is right around the corner. If you were the finance minister, I'm presuming at this stage you wouldn't want to be, but if you were the finance minister, what are the 3 things that you would want Mr. Jaitley to do in this budget?
No, let me not say if I were the finance minister or no, but as a banker, let me say what would we all want the budget to do. I think the first and the most important thing is budget should look at everything that brings back investments. That's very critical to give the economy an uptick. The second is the entire GST, really needs to be brought in, because again, those are low-hanging fruits that can really add to the GDP of the country. The rest of it, I feel, the country doesn't really get run by one-day announcements. I think we are at a stage where every single day we have to, have the tasks for the day and finish them. And there's just a lot for us to do.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.